This time last week, we were joined by colleague Miles Fitzner to get his opinions around the upcoming summer/autumn carnival. And our good friend Dean Evans is joining us this morning from Winning Edge Investments. Welcome, Dean.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you going?
I'm well. It was only like yesterday, it was springtime, and here we are, summer and autumn carnival, and the good horses are back.
Yeah, it's incredible, actually. It seems like they've all decided to start off on Saturday. The fields are just incredible. We sort of had the Christmas and January period, but the fields on Saturday are just exceptional, and it's just really exciting seeing all of these, top liners starting to resume their campaigns for the autumn.
Well, I put it down to you to come up with a few horses to follow for our listeners, and I love the fact that you've come up with a couple of different ones. We'll get to those as we work through them, but let's start with the babies, because everyone's intrigued, building not only to the Blue Diamond in Melbourne, but obviously the path to the Golden Slipper. And I think that there's one that we just can't wait to see on Saturday, and that's Metallicity.
Yeah, look, he's a Peter Snowden trained Zoustar colt. He's a brother to multiple Group 3 winning 2-year-old Catch Me. It was very precocious. He won a Canterbury 890-metre trial in late December, ran the clear quickest time of all 5 2-year-old trials, the 5th quickest last 400 of all trialers on the day, which is very good for a 2-year-old. And he then won a Rose Hill January 4 900-metre trial, again by half a length, again the clear quickest time of 4 2-year-old trials, the 12th quickest last 400 of all trials on the day. And for me, he's one of the best 2-year-old trialers I've seen in 2 or 3 years. Not just the times he's running, but the way he's doing it is just very professional. He's trained by, I'd say, the best trainer of 2-year-olds in Australia, and Peter and Paul Snowden. And look, he's had some issues. He's had a stone bruise, and that is a real shame. And it's just a question of have they got over that, and how serious was that? But if he runs to his peak, then I think he's a really, really serious Group 1 2-year-old.
Normally a comment comes like, I think we've already seen the Slipper winner. Do you rate Metallicity that high if he races up to his trial form?
I do, if he races up to his trial form, absolutely. I think, I always have big concerns when horses have any injury, because, we have so many good horses, and they're so even that it's very difficult to win big races off a troubled prep. And this is going to be a real test for the Snowden camp. But on raw ability, I think this is a horse that we're going to be seeing a lot of, and yeah, he's really high quality.
When you're watching these horses every day, it's your business. When you saw Metallicity, say, for the first time, and then maybe again in that last trial, what are you thinking? Give us your emotions of when you see a colt like him.
I got really excited when I saw him. There's I can go a whole year looking at 2-year-olds and not get particularly excited about any of them. There's lots of fast ones. There's lots that sort of do it under pressure. But he's doing he's sort of doing things on his ear. Having not had a race start yet. That are really impressive. And what I like are, his sectionals always get better and better. 600 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 200 meters, he just gets stronger and stronger, which is what you want to see from a 2-year-old. And he's doing it pretty easily. So, there's a lot of talent there. There's a big engine, and it'll be very exciting to see him resume.
I think Peter Snowden, I was talking to him at the Inglis Classic sale earlier this week, and I said, what are the expectations here? Are we selling it too hard with an unraced 2-year-old to come on the scene and go towards the Slipper? He said, look, we believe that he is one of our best colts, clearly in this campaign, but trial form is just that. He needs to go to the races. So I guess we're all going to learn from barrier 7 or 8 there on the weekend.
Yeah, no, we will. I sort of, I trust in what I've seen. I think it'll be more about whether the preparation has, it's tough with these 2-year-olds, and he sort of had a bit of an interrupted prep with that stone bruise and had to have another trial. And I think if he doesn't run to what I expect, I think I'm going to put it down more to that than anything else. But I think he's a talent that we'll be seeing a lot of, whether it's at 2 or even at 3.
That's Metallicity in the Pierrot plate. Now, one of the other 2-year-olds that you've been waiting to see again is Charlotte, and this is the 2-year-old for Joe Pride that finished behind Sir Jarden in the Golden Gift.
Yeah, look, his debut run over 1,000 metres at Randwick, he ran fifth, beaten 2 lengths, but he drew the car park. He was sort of 3 and 4 wide, flew home from last. He ran the quickest last 400 of the day, which for a 2-year-old is really significant. And that's proven a good form race. Queen of the Ball was second there, and she bolted in to win the Group 3 win by 3.5 lengths. Third horse was Snickcat, who ran third in the Magic Millions. And then, like you say, he ran second in the Golden Gift at his second start. He was beaten a net to Sajardin, who ran third in the English Millennium. So, I think he's been ridden so far by a jockey who's got a poor strike rate, gets sort of black type in metro races as well. I can presume an A-grade top line jockey might get on board to pounce for this prep. And I think he could be a slipper size champagne horse. Shalar, his sire. He's had Shakiro, who won the Magic Millions last year. He's sired a Group 1 winner overseas already, and just his first crop of 2-year-olds. So you can find a top 2-year-old. Story Prize not renowned for his 2-year-olds, but he's got a very precocious colt here, and I think he looks Group 1 class, and I think he's really going to be one to follow through the major 2-year-old races.
I'm just going to text Joe Pride. We had him on the show, I think, this time last week, and at that time he said that the colt had a small blood problem, only small. It wasn't anything serious, and they certainly weren't going to take any risks in taking him to a trial late last week. So I'll try and get an update while we're on air. The plan was unsure first run, but they wanted to get to the Todman second up.
Yeah, and that's I'm pleased to hear that, because the Todman is absolutely the key lead up for the Golden Slipper, and usually the winner comes out of that race more often than not. So he's targeting the right races, Joe.
Yeah, and I think, while Sir Jardin may not have won the English Millennium, I think that he still showed us enough. I think the form line is okay.
Yeah, I think, Sir Jardin sort of didn't map very well in that race. I wasn't that keen on him just because I thought he'd sort of get a long way back. And I thought it was a decent enough run. And I think Charlatan, I think he's a better colt. And, I think he's really going to measure up and just get better as the campaign goes on.
All right. As soon as we get an update from Joe, I'll present just what he's thinking at this stage. Let's talk about the 3-year-olds. I'm going to take the angle of Espiona and say, what did it beat in Melbourne? Are we overselling this filly? Are we just creating a superstar too quickly? Are we raging in the markets and putting her up at $1.80 or $1 whatever she is just too tight and the light fingers on the weekend? What are your overview of Saturday going in?
Well, look, she's got a good field there, a big field of about 16 fillies there, and there's some sort of Group 1 performed fillies, so it's certainly a very good race. Look, I am a big fan of hers. I sort of straight from her initial trials, she sort of flew home in her first ever trial and beat group performers like Fangirl and Duchy of Savoy. Ran the fifth quickest last 200 of the day. Her next trial at Rosehill was really impressive too. She bolted in at Warwick Farms, ran plus 8.2 for the last 400. And at Flemington, it's fine that she didn't beat much, but she ran plus 10.5 the last 800. She ran the first or second quickest sectional for every sectional from the 1,000-meter mark down. So 1,000 meters, 800 meters, 600 meters, 400 meters, 200 meters. It's very rare when I'm looking at the numbers that any horse does that. She looks a superstar. I think she's going to be incredibly hard to beat in the Group 1 surround, and then the Coolmore Classic, the Coolmore Legacy, whatever they run her in. If she's vulnerable, it probably is first up over 1,200, because I'd say she'll be even better once she gets to sort of 1,400 and 1,600. But look, I do believe she's a superstar. I sort of felt like I was the first one to find her early on in the trials, but I'm certainly not now. Everybody's, jumping on her. But, I'm not saying I'm not the type of punter who's going to dive in and take $1.60 about her on Saturday. And I'll watch and hopefully be impressed. But look, I do think she is a real deal, and it's just exciting to have such a good filly to look forward to.
Couple of scratchings in the light fingers. Mallory and Forsanini have both gone to Melbourne to run on the weekend. The other one of Chris Waller's that we're going to see first up on the weekend, coming off the last 3 wins, is Fangirl. Watching her preparation, how do you relate her with the other Waller filly that we've been discussing, Espiona?
Fangirl's another horse I've followed closely throughout her career. She bowled in by 5 lengths at Goulburn. I'd sort of found her from the trials. She was very green. She sort of kept missing the start, which was a real concern, but she was just showing really good sectionals late. I actually backed her in futures 100-1 for the flight stakes and the 1,000 guineas, and unfortunately Waller then went to listed grade at Randwick and bolted in, and then obviously she went to Flemington in the Group 3 Carbine Club and won by 3.3 lengths and sort of ran plus 5.2 for the last 600. I think it's a shame that she runs into Espiona. It's going to be interesting to see what Chris Waller does. He's whether she takes a different direction to Espiona and runs against the boys in the Australian or Randwick Guineas, or goes to the Vinery. I think she'll get a bit of ground, hopefully. But I think she's A grade as well. I think she's Group 1 grade. I think she's just it's just unfortunate that she's going to end up in in the same crop as Espiona, who really could be anything. But I get the feeling Waller might try to separate them, and I think Fangirl's really a horse worth following, the times and the way she finishes off, and also just what I like is I didn't like it for my futures bets, but I think Waller pulled the right rein, just not throwing her right in the deep end in the flight or the 1,000 guineas sort of at Group 1 level. He took his time with her, and you saw her improve at Randwick, and then you saw her improve at Flemington and just destroy the boys. And I think he had the autumn in mind. So don't forget about her while everyone's jumping up and down about Espiona.
Well, the market at this stage for Saturday, so for the light fingers, Fangirls at $7, Espiona's $1.60. They absolutely dominate the market. The next best, let me just work through this, Jamea at $10. And down the bottom, we've got $17 Zuzarella, which we heard earlier from Sam Friedman that certainly cut out of the track will be appreciated by that filly. It's a soft 5 at this stage. I think it's just the Storms tomorrow, a bit hit and miss, just how Randwick will be on Saturday.
Yeah, I think if there's a bit of rain around, expected to be a normal sort of swooping track at Randwick, which should be fine. Espiona's won on a heavy track on debut, so I don't think the wet's going to concern her. Fangirl, I think Fangirl will be better over a bit more ground, so I think she'll just sort of be hitting the line late. But I'm actually surprised she's that short in the market for a 1,200 metre race. There's some good fillies in that race. Horses like 4 Moves Ahead and Jamea and Star Tontes and Zuzarella could all be wound up. And if one of them kicks ahead and sort of gets a bit of a march on Espiona, then it's going to be an exciting race. She's definitely going to have some fillies to have to run down.
By the way, for our listeners, if you've got any thoughts around what Dean's saying, you can text them through and we'll talk about it. 0499 736 736. The other of your 3-year-olds is Converge, and it's probably similar to what you've just spoken about with Chris Waller. Adrian Bott, Gabe Waterhouse have got Silent Impact and Converge, and they're both expected now to go to the Hobart Villa on Saturday week.
Yeah, Converge, I think he's a real top liner. The way he won the JJ Atkins Group 1 by 3.3 lengths was just incredibly impressive. He had a dominant sort of Randwick 964 metre trial in August, won by 2.8 lengths, was outstanding. I thought he could have been a Guineas horse and gone to the Cox Plate like Animo, but he caught a virus and was spelled. We obviously followed in the Congo very closely, and he won the Golden Rose for us, and we won a few races with him in the prep. But I think Converge is many lengths better horse than the Congo. He's come back this prep. He settled back and rattled home to win a round 1,000 metre trial on Jan 24 by 3 lengths. It was plus 2.9. It was the 7th quickest last 600 and the 2nd quickest last 200 of the day. And then he ran a slashing third at Randwick first up, over 1,200 metres. Against 2, sort of Group 1 sprinters, Paul Ailey and Ranchand. He was only beaten a length, and he was in the wrong part of the track. I think he can, not only win the Randwick Guineas, and I think people sort of see that as the obvious, but I think he's actually going to prove a stayer. He's by Frankel. He's trained by Gay. I think he'll get to the Rosehill Guineas over 2,000, and even the Derby over 2,400. I actually think he's a colt who could come out and potentially win all 3 Group 1s. I think he's a real superstar, and sort of Animo's a hot favourite at the moment, but I think Converge is going to prove right up to the absolute best of them.
Okay, that's interesting thoughts. As I say, we're going to see that horse and Silent Impact at this stage on Saturday week against Animo. So these races, they're just beautiful for us to enjoy, but also to learn so much about any of them.
Yeah, it's an exciting period. There's a lot of really good up-and-coming horses. And it hasn't always been the case. I think this is a really exciting crop of, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds and open horses. Just really exciting racing, which is fantastic.
I want to get to your sprinters in a moment, but here comes just a couple. I like them when they just step out the outside the square. And we've been following a little bit this horse for Gerald Ryan and Sterling Alexio, Nasturtium.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about him. I've been following him very closely, and we sort of backed him in all of his 3 starts. He's a 4-year-old Snittle Entire. He had his first start as a 4-year-old, trained by Gerald. He's had the 3 starts: Hawkesbury, Gosford, and Canterbury, over sort of 1100, 1200. He's led all the way in all 3 of them. He's won by 6 lengths, 3 lengths, and 2 lengths. The times have been excellent. The early times that he's run are very strong, and then he's still, good to the line. I think he's going to make the grade. This is his first prep. I'm not sure where he goes next, and what they'll ultimately target with him for, and even whether he'll press on for autumn, or whether they'll sort of put him away. But I think he's just this horse that I think he's flying under the radar, and I think people don't quite realise how good this horse is. I think he's a group horse for sure.
The 19th of Feb, so I'm trying to work out, I haven't got a calendar in front. What date are we today, Dean? We're at...
19th is Saturday week.
Okay, so there's a fillies and mares race, a benchmark... let me take that back. There's a 3 and 4-year-old race at Rose Hill. On Saturday week, a benchmark 78 race over 1100 is where Gerald's going to take the horse next.
Okay, well, he'll win that. And, it'll be interesting to see how deep they go, because it is a horse's first prep. And I'm not sure the background of the horse and why it took a long time for him to run, but... looking in time, I think the sectionals he's running and the way he looks, he's going to end up being a horse we're talking about in some nice races.
I've grabbed for my calendar, because I don't want to make a fool of myself here. The William Reid at Moonee Valley is not far away. I don't know. I think someone pulled me coat at the English Classic sale the other day, and they thought that Nasturtium, if everything went right, maybe they'd try the water just once before they go for a spell.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him thrown in the deep end, because I'd like to back him. So, I think the William Reid looks like it's on the 25th of March. So, that could be a quick backup, but it's possible.
Yeah, no, that'd be a month between. That'd be the 19th.
Oh, sorry, you're right.
19th
I'm thinking
of Feb.
February.
Yeah, 19th of Feb, and then the 25th of March. And they do like the space. So I'm not saying definitely. I'm just thinking of some.
Yeah, he's got great early speed. So 1,000 over the valley could suit him. Might have to check out the futures markets.
Yeah, please. I'm not saying that it's definitely going there. I guess they get through the 19th Saturday week. The other one that I must admit I don't know a lot about is a 3-year-old colt called Mars Mission, MARS Mission. 2 words, trained by Hawkses.
Yeah, 3-year-old deep field colt. He sort of sat third and strode past them to win a Rose Hill 900-metre trial on 17 Jan. He was plus 6.5 for the last 600, which was the quickest of the day. We backed him on debut at Warwick Farm. It was a pretty ordinary ride. He sort of sat really 3 and 4 wide without cover throughout. But maybe it was a good ride because he just knew what he had underneath him. And he ran the 5th quickest last 400 of the day and won comfortably on debut. He just looks very talented. He actually runs at Moonee Valley tomorrow night, Mars Mission, and it's a step up in grade. But I expect him to be able to put that field away. And he just looks like a colt with plenty of ability. And again, he's sort of jumping in grades quickly. So not sure where we'll get to in the autumn, but I think this is another, certainly a group horse from the Hawks yard that's going to make the grade.
Alan Bell in the ownership there, the 3-year-old colt Mars Mission. And before we wrap up, we've got about 90 seconds, Dean. Lost and Running is one of your sprinters, but can I get you to relate how you feel about Isotope? We spoke with Tony Gollan earlier in the week, and it's a 9-week gap between runs into the Galaxy next run.
Yeah, I think she's the one to beat in the Galaxy. It was super impressive to win off a 273-day break over the Magic Millions and after a colic attack, and she just bolted in. She's only a listed winner and a Group 2 place getter so far, but she looks a Group 1 mare any day of the week for me. She's beaten quality horses like Odium, Away Game, Prague, Apache Chase. I think she's going to be hard to beat in the Group 1 Galaxy, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun with her.
And Lost and Running was your other one. So running through them from Dean's point of view, from the 2-year-olds at Charlatan and Metallicity, the 3-year-olds Converge, Espiona and Fangirl. We're going to see 2 of those on the weekend. The sprinters, Lost and Running and Isotope. and of the others, Mars Mission and Nasturtium, and we'll watch for Nasturtium on Saturday week. I know there's others, but the good news for our SEN track listeners, whether they're live or whether they're podcasting, Dean is going to be back with us from around the 24th of this month to relate right through the Autumn Carnival with his spy files that he loves to pass on to our listeners. So great news, Dean, that you're back with us for the Autumn Carnival. Really thank you for coming on and just passing on a few of your notes regarding horses to follow.
Thanks, Andrew. Enjoyed the chat and looking forward to chatting with you throughout the autumn.
Good on you, Dean. Dean Evans joining us there from Winning Edge Investments. Great to have him, as I say,